Hey guys, welcome to this video. This is a Q&A session about how to get your products into retail and work with distributors for your brand. And my name is Rob and I got my food supplement brand into hotel chains like Marriott Hotels, and I supply grocery delivery companies like Gateir, Gorillas with my product, and a couple of brands of food supplements. And I am going to answer some questions that we get from our community. And the community is basically a free community where people can ask questions about retail and about distribution. Sometimes we will see other questions, and if I can answer them, I will, but if I don't, then I'm not going to pick them for this Q&A session. So it's very interesting for anyone that's want to get their products into retail or distribution. So let's start with first question of today. I'm going to write these questions down so I can also think about an answer, and also so you guys know which questions are going to be in this video, so you can hang around and wait for the answer, or you can scroll to get the answer first, because I will make timestamps. And that's basically how we're going to do these sessions, right? So this is the third time I'm doing this, and I hope I'm getting better at it, but let's hop right into it. So the first question is from Anna, and Anna says, I have a brand for skincare, but I don't know where to include retailers in my customer journey. Can you help? So that will be the first question. I'll write it down though. I have a brand for skincare, but I don't know where to include retailers into or in my customer journey. Can you help? Yes. Yes, I can. So we'll do this later. Josh says, I'm very confused on what the difference is from distributors and wholesalers. I sell branded baby products, if that matters. Well, Josh, that doesn't really matter what you sell, because we're just going to talk about the difference between distributors and wholesalers. So yes, difference between distributors and wholesalers. Okay. Question number 3 is from Tyrell. By following your free course, I've got in a grocery store with my own beef jerky products. Oh, that's great. Now you talk in your course about retailer regulations, but for this specific product, I don't know what kind of certificates I need, because I'm not confident to supply them yet, since I'm not sure what regulations to follow. Can you help me, or do I need to schedule a call to talk about this specific question? We'll answer that right here, because I know a lot about food safety, and especially in combination with retail, because food supplements obviously have a lot of safety issues and a lot of safety requirements. So I will answer that for you here, Tyrell. So you were question number 3. So, by the way, this course that he's talking about is our free retail accelerator course. It's basically step 1 to 3 from our retail accelerator framework, and it teaches you how to get your first product in your brand into your first retail location, and it teaches you how you can build from there, and it's all for free. So check it out. It's in the link in the description. I think it's below the video. Okay, so Darrell, I'm going to write your question down. So you got in a grocery store beef jerky, and you are worried about the certificates, or you cannot get certificates that you need, because you don't know if you can supply them. We'll answer that. Okay, so you don't have to book any call or whatever to get an answer for that. Okay, now Amber says, I sell on Etsy handmade bars of soap. I would love to get my products into retail, but I have no idea if I can fill the demand of multiple stores buying my products. Yeah, this is a supply chain issue or question. So yeah, we will handle this one too, Amber. Very important to know if you can fill the demand for stores buying your products, especially if you do handmade products, huh? Yeah, so Etsy, so just some keywords, otherwise I'll be writing a long time for these questions. So Etsy, handmade soap, and you are foreseeing or you think about that you will have some supply chain issues. Yeah. So what do you need to do? Yes. Okay. So that's a lot of writing, guys. Okay. Next question is from Vladim. Vladim is saying, I'm selling in Poland on Allegro. Maybe you've heard about it. It's like Amazon, but for Poland. How would you start selling to retailers or distributors outside of Poland or even outside of Europe? Yeah, we're going to handle, we're going to do this too, Vladin, and I think we're going, with this question, we're going to focus on to take your local market first. Maybe that was not your question, but I'd say that that's the part where we are going to dive into, because that's the part that you need to nail first before you can expand to Poland, outside of Poland, or start doing anything with distributors in another country or even another continent. Okay, so yeah, so Poland, I don't know Allegro, by the way, but I think, yeah, maybe it's the same as Amazon and it's a bit smaller, and I don't know which kind of information you can extract from that sales channel. Yeah, so Allegro, and you want to expand outside of Poland. Okay, Vladin. Yes. So, next question is from Rakesh. Hey Rob, my name is Rakesh and I'm from India. I developed my own sunscreen brand all by myself and is doing very well on Amazon in India, but I do not want to be reliant on one sales channel any longer because I want to increase the value of my company and overall increase revenue. How do I start? Well, I think you came to the right place to add sales channels to your business that's already doing well, especially if you are doing well on Amazon. Yeah, so we'll talk about that when it's your turn. Yeah, so yeah, okay, so you have sunscreen, which is really cool actually, because you're starting a sunscreen brand and all the ingredients and stuff. That's not an easy thing. So you didn't take the easy way out, so that's really cool that you developed something yourself. Okay, sunscreen brand, Amazon, India, reliant on Amazon, and you want to increase revenue and profit, of course, right? Yeah, revenue and profit. Okay. Next question. Hello, my name is Mark and I own an e-commerce brand with multiple products focused on the kitchen niche. We are doing very well with our ads and our yearly revenue is about $3 million. Now I have been diving into diversification and omni-channel strategies for a while, and I'm particularly interested in using retail and distributors to increase our revenue. But our company is relatively small compared to our competitors. How do we make this work or get a foot in between the door, so to speak? Yeah. Okay, if I understand this right, yeah, so you think that your company is you are relatively small, but being a small brand has its advantages, and we're going to talk about that here. So that's what we're going to answer, or that's the direction we're going to take with this question, Mark. Okay. So your name's Mark, e-com brand, multiple products, $3 million in revenue. You want to diversify, add sales channels. Okay, and you think small company. How do you start with retail? And I'd say maybe also distribution. I don't know what level you are, so maybe we'll dive into that too. Distribution. Okay, so yeah, the direction we're going to take here is that you don't need to think that when you're small you can't get in any retail stores or you cannot do business with distributors, because that is just not true. All right, and I will explain it later. Okay, so next one. My name is Ross, and me and my business partner have a couple of e-commerce brands that do pretty well with just meta ads. And we also use some influencers. We are confident in the way we do business now, but I want more. My business partner does not. I think we need to add sales channels, especially because the ones we're using right now are working without that much effort and time spent on them. We could do more. How would you convince my business partner to start pursuing retail and distribution opportunities? Ross, I think we are going to take the direction here of explaining what retail and distribution actually adds for your customer, because that's eventually what you want to do. You want to give your customer a more complete experience in the customer journey, and that's basically how you will create brand loyalty and also make happy customers. So that's the direction we're going. Thank you for your question, Ross, and we're going to be able to have you sway your business partner. All right. Okay, next is from Jared, which he asks, he's saying that I have heard from several people that if you want to sell products into retail stores, you will need a field sales team. Is this true? Not necessarily, no. If you are scaling, then yes, it's the preferred method, but you should just start. If you don't sell products into retail stores already, you won't need it. So we're going to explain why, and we're also going to talk about what to do instead of that. All right. So Jared, we're going to answer your question. Thank you for sending it in. Then Robert John. Hi, is it okay to use heavy discounts during a product introduction in our first local retail store? Depends, okay? It depends on the situation and your unit economics, and yeah, that's it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that first, but I think later then I will answer this question by explaining unit economics when you are doing discounts in, let's say, retail stores. Who pays for it? The customer, the retailer, or you as a brand. So we'll hop into that on that question. Then Sylvester, hi, we have a full assortment of products in skincare, in the skincare niche, and we want to introduce this as a full range to retailers. How do we start doing this? By not introducing your full range to retailers, but just pick one, and I will explain why when we dive into this question deeper. So thanks for your question, Sylvester. We'll answer this later. Jonathan, I'm building a product from scratch. Is there a way that I can make my product ready for retail and distribution, but also for e-commerce? Yeah, by including the marketing and the communication in your product. And we'll talk about that here later in this question. So thanks, Jonathan. This will be answered too. Let's start with the first question. That was Anna. And Anna said, I have a brand for skincare, but I don't know where to include retailers in my customer journey. Can you help? Well, Anna, I can, because when someone is shopping for skincare products, I mean, I don't use many skincare products, but I do know that they always sell these small tubes and small samples, and they also have someone that is trained to give advice on what kind of product you need to use for your face, stuff like that. And obviously how it smells, right? Because if you buy something online, you don't know the smell. And I think that's a very important factor in a customer journey. So if you have a customer that can only see your product online, you can actually have a really nice user interface for skincare brands. I've seen a lot with really nice web shops and really good branding, and also some very nice tools that you where you can just say like, okay, my face is like this, and is this type, it's dry or oily, or I don't really know how that really works, but you have a lot of options. So it seems like it's tailored advice, but it's really not that much, because there is no expert giving you advice, and there is no way of smelling the product, and there is no way of ordering a sample. Yes, you can order a sample if you have that option on your website or on your web shop, but it's not the same. For these kind of products, people prefer the tangible experience. They want to try it on, they want to see how it feels, they want to smell it, they want some advice from someone, and there is no better way to do this than include all these in your customer journey, because you should be serving the customer. And if the customer wants this, that is the way to build a business. You need to serve your ideal customer. That's basically how you do it. So I would say that's the biggest reason why you should always add these contact points and experience aspects in your branding and in your customer journey, right? So yeah, do that and see where it goes. I mean, you can talk to your customers that you have online if they would like to have a place where they can go to try out your products. If a lot of them say yes, then it's probably the right thing to do, right? You need to ask the right people, and you need to look for the right answers, and then you need to act on that. That's business, so I would say go for it. Now, Josh, I'm very confused on what the difference is from distributors and wholesalers. I sell branded baby products, if that matters. Yeah, like I said when we were reading out the questions, it doesn't really matter what kind of product you sell, because your question is the difference between distributors and wholesalers. And I'd say there is no difference between distributors and wholesalers, because they are the same. They are companies that sell your products on your behalf. They act on the behalf of your brand. And they are just going to sell it to the sales channels that they see fit, or that you agree on selling to. So if you would say like, I want you as a distribution company to supply retail stores, then they will supply retail stores, obviously. But if you say like, hey, you are operating in a country that I don't know, but I would like to sell my product there, can you sell it for me online? Then they can open an online store, they can work with Shopify, WooCommerce, whatever. If they see fit to have the revenue or the profit or the amount of sales that they need to do according to your distributor contract, they are just going to look for ways to sell your product, right? And if your product sells well, they're going to order again. The only way to do that if you have a good product, and if you do the support, and if your supply chain is in order. But that's something for a different kind of question. So I hope that answered your question, Josh. Now, Tyrell, by following your free course, I've got a grocery store with my own beef jerky products. Now you talk in your course about retailer regulations, but for this specific product, I don't know what kind of certificates I need, because I'm not confident to supply them yet, since I'm not sure what regulations to follow. Can you help me, or do I need to schedule a call to talk about this specific question? As I already said when we were talking about your question when it rose at the start of this video, I will answer it right here, because for me, I know exactly how these things work. So don't schedule a call with me. It's all right. So Tyrell, I actually think that you followed the Retail Accelerator framework course. That's really nice that you got this result with it, right? So next, let's get back on the topic. You don't know what certificates you need. Well, in my experience, there are retail stores that don't really care that much about certificates. But do you need to do business? Do you want to do business with them? Because you are the one that's liable if something's wrong with your product. I mean, you have something that people ingest, right? And I have experience with that. If you don't test it, if it's not all the way it's supposed to be, eventually there will be something wrong, right? Maybe it's a small thing. Maybe the more people consume your product, the better you should do all the safety testing, because there's always a chance of something being contaminated, and it's also for food supplements. If people take millions of my capsules, and then something can happen more often than if only 10,000 people took one capsule, right? Think about it, and you already made the decision to not being confident to supply them, since you're not sure what regulations to follow, and that gives me an idea that you know what you're doing, because otherwise you would say like, okay, they want to buy my product, here you have my product, and that's it, right? And it's good that you make this distinction. So I would advise you, because I know that you're the only Tyrell in this in our free course, and I can see that you're from the US. So you should contact the FDA. They have you can ask them for all the information that you need and make a checklist out of it, and then show the checklist to the retailer that you want to do business with, or that wants to do business with you, right? And then say that if there's anything, ask them if there is anything missing, or they need something more, something extra, because some retailers have different regulations they follow. Sometimes they have internal regulations that are more strict than the FDA regulations, or the other way around. So make sure that you know, and also be honest to the FDA how your supply chain looks, because if you say that you make your product yourself, that you are the producer, then there are different rules for you than if you just slap your white label sticker on the product and just say that that's your brand now, because then you're not really the manufacturer, but you do need the certifications, and your factory or wherever you buy your products, in that case, should have all these certificates ready. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope that answered your question, and the only thing that you need to remember is that you need to be honest to the FDA how your supply chain looks, because that will make a big difference in the advice you will get, and the checklist you will get. Okay, so yeah, that's it, Tyrell. Now Amber was saying, I sell on Etsy and I sell handmade bars of soap. I would love to get my product into retail, but I have no idea if I can fill the demand of multiple stores buying my products. Yeah, I remember this one as being the supply chain problem. This is a luxury problem actually, because if you sell enough products, that's cool, right? But suddenly you can't really make them yourself anymore because you're occupied with other stuff. And I'm sure that eventually your focus will be needed elsewhere than in the production side of the business. So then that will be the constraint that you have to fix. And yeah, you will have to come up with solutions if you can't handle the production. And that's a good thing. I mean, you will need to outsource eventually, and outsourcing doesn't mean that you should go to whatever country or another country where it's cheaper to buy to make stuff, but to make products. I mean, in your case it's soap, but you can also teach your ways of making that soap to others, and then just have a production facility inside. You don't have to buy a production facility straight away. You don't have to have a big room where you do the production. You can just do it still small, because you will start doing business with small stores first. If you follow our retail accelerator framework, step 1 to 3, it's free, link down below, and then you can yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to say that, yeah, it's also because it's packed with value, right? I'm not just saying it because yeah, I spend a lot of time on it, and it will help. So Amber, if you're not already following that, I would suggest you to start doing that. And as soon as you will start running into these supply chain issues, yeah, then just try to find ways to handle the production, right? I mean, we all have to solve these problems eventually, and it's better if you do it sooner than later, because that means that you will have quite a bit of revenue already, and you can also look at your unit economics, like the cost, how much it will cost to make your products, and eventually you will not be the one making your products anymore. I mean, that's just inevitable. Maybe on Etsy it's possible, but I'd say if you sell a lot on Etsy already, maybe it's already hard, because I have no idea how long it takes to make a bar of soap. But I've seen people cut soap, and it's all over TikTok and stuff like that. So it looks really cool, and I think it's a fun thing to actually do. But I think your focus should be elsewhere. All right. The next question was from Vladin. I'm selling in Poland on Allegro. Maybe you've heard about it. It's like Amazon, but for Poland. How would you start selling to retailers or distributors outside of Poland or even outside of Europe? Yeah, I remember that for this question, I'd say start in Poland first. Start to get your first retail accounts in Poland. Because I don't know how transparent or how much information you've got about your customers on this Allegro platform. And if you do have the same information as Amazon, then yeah, well, I don't think that it's a good sales channel to keep relying on that much. So I understand that you want to diversify and add sales channels. But the thing is, I don't know what your product is. I don't know what you're selling. So I don't know who your customers are, if you have any repurchasers, if you have many sales, what's your revenue, what is the differentiating factor in your product. Yeah, so if you have multiple, take the one that is most in demand. So we call it a hero product. It's just the product that sells most and is the most trendy and is also most likely to be picked up by a retailer if you present it to them, right? Because it has all the factors in it that the retailer wants, which we will talk about someday. I won't mention all these things because it's just a lot of it's not that complicated, but it's a lot what they're looking for, right? But these are some factors. All right, so what I would do is, take the one that's most in demand. And if you would like to buy this product, where would you go if internet did not exist? And go there and see if they have similar products, see what they're doing, see how they look. Maybe buy them if you can afford to buy all these kind of products and just take them apart at home. Look what differentiates them in their packaging. Look what differentiates the product. Look at the logo, the space in between the letters they use, what kind of USPs, or do they use multiple as USPs, or do they have one clear marketing communication benefit or USP that they all use, right? So then you know what the customer is looking for. Start talking to customers in that same kind of not in the same kind of in the same store that you find these products, and just ask them questions, and don't be scared or don't think that you're bothering them, because probably you are bothering them. But if you are a nice guy or a nice girl or a nice woman or a nice man, you can talk to people, you can communicate with them, be a bit charismatic. You need to learn to talk to people anyway if you want to get a bit more into doing business with distributors and retailers, because this is more personal and it involves some different kind of skills than doing business from behind of your laptop. And just start there. And the reason why I'd say start in Poland, start small, is because if you can't take your local market with your product, where you speak the language, where you know what's happening, you have the contacts probably, because be honest, if you know people, those people know other people, and your network is actually always bigger than you actually think it is, unless you're going to start writing it down who you actually know and what they can do for you. And I'm not saying ask around to have people do stuff for you. You need to do something back for them. Obviously, it's give and take, not give or take. So there needs to be a balance, but that's how you should start. And also, you speak this language, you speak Polish. I know a lot of Polish people, and English is not their main language, right? I mean, you can always do better. I mean, I'm Dutch, so English is our second language, and in some cities like Amsterdam, the main language is even English. But if it's not the case, then if this is not your situation, if you know English for 40 or 50%, it's always better to go into your local market first. Because if you can prove your product works in Poland, you can always look for other opportunities outside of Poland. That's what your question actually was about. So if you prove your product, you can move away, or you can move to other territories. And you wouldn't go away to another territory if your product's actually working well in Poland, because maybe you can build your product out massively in Poland. Poland is a big country, so yeah, I would say look at it like that. And yeah, I don't know if you're already in our retail accelerator course, but this is basically how you start small and sell your brand to small retailers, and then just get feedback from those small retailers and their customers and build it out further, while also maintaining all the performance indicators that we teach. It's not that hard. You just need to start, and you just need to start talking to people and follow that framework. And yeah, when you get your first product into your product into your first store and you see it on the shelves, it will be all worth it, right? So it's a cool feeling, and I know how it feels. It's cool. So it's really nice if you see people with your product in their hands, and yeah, it's just that's the best feeling. So yeah, I would say get into that. Get into our free course. Didn't make it for no reason. But please take notes and don't just watch it like it's a movie. Okay. Next question, Rakesh. Hey Rob, my name is Rakesh and I'm from India. I developed my own sunscreen brand all by myself, and it's doing very well on Amazon in India. But I do not want to be reliant on one sales channel any longer, because I want to increase the value of my company and overall increase revenue. How do I start? Rakesh, you're a very smart man. Because you don't want to be reliant on Amazon, it's never a good idea to only have one sales channel that works, and especially one that you don't have control over, like Amazon. So, thanks for your message. I think it's really cool that we have some people from India joining more frequently the last few weeks. It's awesome. Yeah, it's very difficult to manufacture these products yourself. So, good job on that. I think it's really nice. Anyway, yeah, Amazon. My opinion, Amazon is best seen as a way of, as a sales channel or as a distribution channel. So it's basically a way to sell products. And there are multiple ways of selling products, right? So you got brick and mortar, you got retail, which is essentially the same. Most of the time they say brick and mortar is a bit smaller. Retail is considered bigger, but they are actually just the same. They're just store locations. You have an online store, probably WooCommerce or Shopify. You do have distributors, so and you have online platforms like Amazon, but probably there like eBay or Etsy. Those are also distribution channels. That's how you should see it, right? You can't be reliant on one channel. So that's why I'm mentioning all of those. Let's see. Okay. I would suggest that you have an online store besides Amazon. I don't know if you have that already, and I actually also don't know how delivery works in India. I have no idea if you do have fast delivery or the delivery that we have in the US or in Europe. And I don't mean any disrespect, so I really don't know. Maybe you do have it. Then maybe if anyone's from India and sees this, then put in the comments how your how deliveries go in India, and if it's as fast as we're used to, or if it's even possible to order a product and have it shipped if you don't use Amazon, right? That would be cool. But yeah, so as always, if you want to add the retail or distribution as a sales channel, I would say you start with retail, obviously, because they are smaller and you need to create demand to eventually get into distribution channels. Take your local market first, like we talked about with Vladin. This is also what I would say to you. Go to stores. Look for sunscreen products, take them apart, take them home, see what the packaging is all about, see what they are actually doing. I don't know if there are any health claims on skin products, actually, if there are any regulations for it. I think there are, actually. Yeah, there are, because I was reading about it a few days ago. Don't just do whatever everyone else is doing, but do some research about those regulations before you start putting your marketing and communication and everything on the product. If you have a small budget, then it's very, very important to include your marketing messaging in the product itself, in the packaging, in the display, and on the product itself, right? Everyone needs to know what your product does. Everyone needs to know what your brand's all about. So basically, it needs to sell itself when it gets seen in a retail store. And now, if you amplify that effect by being in that retail store too, as the brand founder, or if you have a team, I would always say that you need to do the first few retail stores yourself as a founder, because you need to know what customers you're getting. You need to know the customer in and out. You know your product better than anyone else, and you should use that. And you need to use your you need to be comfortable in those conversations. And you can only be comfortable in a conversation about your product if you know everything about it. Nobody knows more about your product than you, so you should be the one that's in there. Even if you have to be there for a few days and it delays other tasks in your business. If you want to start having the sales channel up and running, and if you want to start working on it, then you need to sacrifice a little bit of time from other things that you need to do in your business, because especially at the start, you will need to be there. All right. And if you get that feedback in and everything like that, then you need to streamline. You need to use all that to streamline your marketing messaging until you got it dialed in, because you will be next to other products when you're selling in retail. Shelf space is scarce. Yeah, scarce. So there's not a lot of shelf space, and you're competing with others, and you will be next to them. So your branding will need to be better than anyone else's, or someone else gets the sale, right? So you need to get that dial in, and you can only do that by getting the feedback from customers, getting the feedback from the retailers, getting the feedback from the salespeople that the retailers have. And that's basically how you're going to do this. And the next step will probably be like do some sampling, do some shows, some demo teams, and maybe have a field sales team. But these are all things that you need to do later. And if you want to know the exact process, then just look below for this Retail Accelerator framework course that I made for you guys for free. It's in a video, and make notes and just start implementing those steps until you get into your first retail store and you can actually start adding it as a sales channel. All right. Next. Hello, my name is Mark and I own an e-commerce brand with multiple products focused on the kitchen niche. We are doing very well with our ads. On our yearly revenue is about $3 million. Now I have been diving into diversification and omni-channel strategies for a while, and I'm particularly interested in using retail and distributors to increase our revenue. But our company is relatively small compared to our competitors. How do we make this work or get a foot in between the door, so to speak? What I was saying is that you need to look at this, Mark. You need to look at yourself as a small brand, because you are relatively small, but that doesn't mean that you can't really get into big box retailers or big retail chain stores or big distribution parties. Because if you have what they're looking for, if your product is what they're looking for, and if you can get them the support they need to actually sell those products, it doesn't matter that you're small, because that's an advantage, because they will probably have direct contact with you and you're the brand owner or the founder, or they have direct. The thing that you need to do if you want to stand out as a small brand is do everything right. And you do the things right that the bigger brands don't. And bigger brands have hierarchy in it. Like they need to discuss every small thing, and it takes time. They lose time on these bigger brands. And if you are the one that's just connecting the dots quickly, and that knows how to jump on trends, that knows how to use the marketing messaging that sells best, that you need to you know these things, right? You know your product very well, and a bigger brand has probably doesn't really have the founder involved in the processes of getting knowing competitors, actually explaining the product. You do have an advantage there because you can actually do that. So start doing that. And I am also going to assume that you have your own store on WooCommerce or Shopify, and that you own your customer information. If you also sell on Amazon, then I hope it's not that big of a part of your entire revenue, because I want to know if you have the information what your customer actually wants, and if you have the ability to have them take a survey or answer questions about your brand or competing brands. So you actually know what your customer wants, and so you can explain to retailers that you know what your customer wants, and you can actually prove that you know what your customer wants. So yeah, what I do know is that 3 million in revenue doesn't really say much. It only it does say that you're selling, and probably that you are also selling something that it doesn't really have to be a high ticket product if you make the volume. But we need to know what the profit is, because I've seen brands doing 5 million plus a month with 8% profit, and I don't think that 8% profit is a good margin to work with. I don't. So without context, your numbers don't really mean anything, but what I do know is that you also need to start small. Like I am going to tell, like everyone that's asking these questions, you start small, and then you're going to stores that you know, local stores that you have connection and that you have a connection with. Like everyone knows someone or knows someone that can get you into contact with one of these stores to try to find your ideal customer in retail. And you just need to talk to these people. You need to just talk to the customers. You need to talk to the retailers, get inside information, because you know what it is about retail is that people will be honest about your product. Because a lot of times when you ask for reviews online, the only people that are going to give you a review are the ones that have something to complain about, right? And some people do give 5-star or 4-star reviews, but let's be honest, if I have something nice, if I bought something nice online, I'm not going to think about, hey, let's give them a review. Or I need to get something in return, and that's something that works, and that's what a lot of people do. But that's not really an honest way of being giving your product proper feedback, right? Because it's a little bit biased, and in retail that's not. So you will get some surprises, but you will gain insights to make your product better, and we need to serve the customer with our brands, right? So that's what you need to do, and this will give you so many advantages. You will see when you start doing this that your product will be better, and also your online sales will also skyrocket. I mean, your product will be better. More people will talk about it. Your brand awareness is bigger. You will also be connected with the retailers that you work with, so your trust goes up. It all has benefits, right? View it that way, and view all these things as separate sales channels. So as I was saying, you are talking about omni-channel strategies. This is not the only thing that you can do. You can also sell on Etsy, eBay. You can sell to distributors eventually if you do this retail thing well. To do this retail thing well, you just need to start somewhere. And if you want to start somewhere and you don't know where to start, if you know that you want to sell to retail, but you don't know which steps to take, then just follow this free course that we have below and take some notes, and just start implementing all these things in your business. Simple, right? So I hope I helped you, Mark, and yeah, go and get it. Now, next, my name is Ross, and me and my business partner have a couple of e-commerce brands that do pretty well with just meta ads. Well, good job, then you have a very good sales channel if you make that work. We also use some influencers. We're confident in the way we do business now, but I want more, and my business partner does not. I think we need to add sales channels, especially because the ones we're using right now are working without that much effort and the time spent on them. We could do more, but how would you convince my business partner to start pursuing retail and distribution opportunities? Well, Ross, first you need to ask yourself if your product benefits from having a tangible experience anywhere in the customer journey. And do your customers actually want that? Is that verified? And if it's a product that needs to be touched, smelled, or tried, or played with, or tried on, then most likely they would say yes, because everyone appreciates a good customer journey, and a location is a part of a customer journey, because that's a tangible experience. And the goal in any business in the end is to serve its customers, right? And if a customer has a positive experience, your brands grow. If they have a negative experience, your brand decreases or will be worth less, and your revenue will die off. And so you need to give them the best experience possible. And yeah, the thing you can do here is pretty simple. I mean, if you have these brands that are working pretty well with just meta ads, if you're using meta ads, they are going to your Shopify or your WooCommerce website, and you have all the information that you need of all these customers to make a survey or ask if they would appreciate an extra customer journey step. So what kind of retail store should we be in? That will be one of the questions that I would ask. And make them give them something to give to fill out the survey, right? And yeah, the only thing that you want in the end is as many people that as many people as possible will become your customer and buy your product, and give them the experience that make sure that the promise you make in your marketing or messaging or communication is kept, and then they will spread the word, right? That's the compounding effect of doing business and doing business well. So it's all about growth, and I'd say that you should be able to explain it like this to your business partner, because it's all about growth. You need the business to grow, and you need your brand to grow, and for that you need your customer to be happy. So if a customer wants something and it's and you're able to do this in a pretty easy way, or not an easy way but a straightforward way, you should take that opportunity and just start doing it, and your business partner should see that too. Otherwise, I would say that your business partner is actually stunting the growth of your brand. And maybe I'm wrong, but because maybe you can scale your meta ads even further. But if you had a part of retail or distribution channel, or you are selling in another way than just online, then you have that compounding effect, and it will all be increasing your brand share or your brand equity or the way people perceive your brand, and that's just what you want, right? And if you want an easy way to start this, then just follow the free video course that I did a few weeks ago, called the Retail Accelerator Framework, step 1 to 3, and it's pretty long. Take some notes and implement those steps in your business, and I'm sure you can get your first retail location, Ross. So good luck with negotiating with your business partner. Now next, we have Jared. Hi, I've heard from several people that if you want to sell products into retail stores, you need a field sales team. Is this true? In my experience, no. We've launched over 10 brands, different brands in retail ourselves, and later helped, I think, dozens, or I think like 23, 24 brands scale pretty big too. And when you start out, you are your own field sales team. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, and it actually can be, and it should be, because you need to get to know your customer in retail. They are different than online. Your product needs to be really good to sell in retail, and you need to get the feedback from everyone that you can get. So as a founder, you should be in the stores and share your brand story with the customers by yourself. Because I said it before, and I will do it again, nobody knows your product as well as you. And eventually you will be needed in other places, because you will be taking a lot of operational demand or roles in your company, but now you're probably wearing many hats, and if you're just starting out, or if you are not scaling past a certain figure, you will still be wearing a lot of hats. So brand founder should always be talking to clients, customers. So because without this first-hand feedback that you get from people that you talk to, you are going to have problems, because you will not have perfectly dialed down what your customer actually wants and what you need to do to how do you say that? To fill their demands? Yeah, to fill their demands. So if you don't do that, then you will eventually be trusting other people to sell your brand for you. The best thing you can do before that happens is dial down what they actually need to say and teach them. Because if they're going to make up a story by themselves, it's not going to work. There are scripts and sales pitches for a reason. It needs to include different elements, and you will need to figure those out. And that will also be a part of constantly editing your marketing, your communication, and all the messaging, because the more feedback you get, the more things will actually look like they are not right. And you need to change some stuff up. And that's the way you are going to pivot all the time until you find the product market fit. If you find the local product market fit, which is basically people want to buy your product for the price that you need to sell it for to make a profit, then you can scale to other retail stores, distribution channels, regional, national, intercontinental, whatever you want. So you need to get this dial in. And this is a process that you will need to do every time when you start selling in a new area, because every area is a bit different. But you won't need to do it yourself all the time. That's it. Okay, so you need to get in those hours to talk to your customers, Jared. So yeah, not necessarily a field sales team at the start. I would always advise against that, because they cost a lot of money, and you don't even know what you have to tell them, right? You don't know what kind of words they have to use. You don't know what your customers actually want. So you need to get to know your ideal customers, and the best way to do that is start small. And start small is how you guessed it, you can just watch the video below, and you can see how you can start small and selling to retailers. The video below, I mean in the link below, right? All right, Robert John says, hi, is it okay to use heavy discounts during a product introduction in our first local retail store? Well, it's a trade-off, because who pays for the discount? And is it you or the retail store, or is it the customer? A customer is not going to pay for the discount, because then it wouldn't be a discount. A retailer is probably also not going to pay for the discount, because they give you the opportunity to start selling in their stores. So you are the one that's going to pay for the retail, for the discount. So it's a trade-off, because what I mean is, like, if you earn more, if your margin is big enough to give the retailer something at a reduced price, so they eventually can sell it for a reduced price, or you're just going to pay the retailer a flat fee to price your product lower. And then it's not a percentage, but it's a flat fee, like let's say 30-40 cents for cheap products. It's what we do sometimes. And then you just let the retailer buy your product for 30 or 40 cents less, so they don't have to do the markup that big, or you just go and set it up in a different way. But that's basically what you need to do. And if you sell way more because of that, it's worth it. If you still sell the same, it's not worth it. If you sell a little bit more and it doesn't add up, and you can't really make any arguments why you should do these discounts, then you don't need to do these discounts, obviously. So you just need to analyze what's happening and how much you're selling, and you need to really take a look at your unit economics. How much does it cost to make your product? If it's pretty cheap to make your product, you can obviously give bigger discounts, right? So you can do the discounts out of your own pocket and still make a profit. But if you are selling it below the price that you have to pay, the production price, then it's obviously not a good idea, right? So that's basically how you look at it. It's a bit more complex than that, actually a lot more complex than that, but that's the basics. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Robert John. Now, Sylvester, hi, we have a full assortment of products in the skincare niche, and we want to introduce this as a full range to retailers. How do we start doing this? Okay, well, for starters, don't go and introduce your full assortment at once, because you always need to take a hero product, and a hero product is your most popular product. We've already mentioned that in one of the earlier questions. It will benefit you in the long run that you have multiple products, because if you do well with one product and you're a trusted supplier and they sell your product well, you can always say, like, hey, is there a demand for this product? Is there a demand for this product? And maybe you don't even have it, but you can also produce it, or you can just manufacture it and sell it straight to the retailer. So it's always good to have multiple products or multiple ideas ready. but make sure that you have this hero product and that it performs well in a retail store, that you really know your customers and that you know how to sell it, right? Because rest will come later, and you will need to first build a strong case around your first product that you're going to sell to retail. And on the other ones, you can also, you will build your brand and your assortment around that hero product. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Sylvester. Now we are going to Jonathan. I'm building a product from scratch. Is there a way that I can make my product ready for retail and distribution, but also for e-commerce? So yeah, as I'm seeing, you are going to have different sales channels. And that's a really good thing, Jonathan, because I also think that you should always do this. But yeah, it's tricky because you start building from zero and you have no way of receiving customer feedback from the start. So yeah, basically what you need to do is do market research very well and competitor research very well. Where are the opportunities and what are the white spaces that you can jump into? So you need to find a niche and look what your competitors are doing and see what people are missing in those competitors. You need to figure that out. And yeah, you need to know what does not work, and you need to know what your ideal customer wants to buy and what don't they want. You need to cut out the things that they don't want, and you only need to communicate the things that they do want. So sometimes you see people using 20 USPs or many benefits. Like on Amazon, you always have these bullet points, right? What if one of those things mattered most and you put it on the packaging, and then people know, okay, I want that product because that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's what you need to do when you want to have something work well in retail, because if you don't have a very big marketing budget, your product will need to sell itself. And the only way to do that is by communicating what your product actually is, because you see so many products that are just throwing USPs out of there that they don't even know if it resonates with their customers. So what you need to do is figure out what resonates with the customers. In a way, you can maybe it's a long shot, but because we don't really do it like that, and I never did it that way, but maybe you can make a mock-up of the product and the branding and everything that you think will fit for retail and your e-commerce customers, and you can just run ads to it and see how many people want to buy it, and then see how people like it or what they don't like about it. Read the comments, maybe have them make a pre-sale, because then you don't have to produce it already. That's how I would start, actually. So maybe if I would do it that way. We have the retail connection, so retail is our first way of validating an idea. We don't do that online, because for some kind of products that's tricky, especially for food supplements. So I don't have any experience for that regarding that. Yeah, and if you want to know what works in retail, then go into retail and take a look what kind of products are there, what's special about it. Because if something is in retail, a purchaser or a buyer had to think that that product would sell, right? You need to find the reason why this retailer thinks that it would sell, and if it actually sells, right? So what's actually in this course? So first I'm going to talk about who I am. So why should you listen to me, right? Then about the limiting beliefs of selling to retail stores. Then the personal characteristics and traits of successful brand founders. And then why expanding from a D2C model to include retail is critical. And yeah, those are the different chapters of that module. And yeah. Okay, let's hop on to the table of content part 2. So the table of content part 2. Competitor research, then product regulation research, then market entry. Chapter 8 is about testing in small retail, which is basically the most important thing that you will learn in this course. So pay attention to it, and also please make sure that you have your notebook ready and write everything down. So this is something that you will need to pay attention, and you will learn a lot. So please, I didn't make this course for no reason. I made it to help you guys, so take notes. Chapter 9, create a strong brand story that resonates locally. This is key if you want to start testing in small retail, because small retail is locally influenced. So you need to brand accordingly, and you need to brand for local people. All right, so let's hop on to the next table of content. In chapter 10, you will learn how to handle objections.